Now we'll move on to agenda item 5B, which is 114 Acacia Avenue, a request for a use permit to allow the construction of a new home which increases the gross floor area of the existing home by greater than 50% to 63% and exceeds the 44% lot coverage requirement by 1% per sections 12230B1 and 12230B3 of the San Bruno Municipal Code. Staff report, please.
Thank you. As stated, the applicant has applied for a use permit to allow the construction of a new home which increases the gross floor area of the existing home by greater than 50% and exceeds the 44% lot coverage requirement. The subject site is located on the east side of Acacia Avenue between Santa Lucia Avenue and San Felipe Avenue and is currently developed with a one-story single-family dwelling. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing single-family dwelling and replace it with another one-story single-family dwelling. The home will contain 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a living room, dining room, and a kitchen. The home would consist of 1,621 square feet of living area and a 309 square foot one-car garage. The project was reviewed by the Planning Commission by the Architecture Review Committee at their May meeting. At that meeting, the property owner to the north of the subject site, who resides at 118 Acacia Avenue, was present and expressed concerns regarding the original design, specifically the overall height of the project, as it would block the view currently enjoyed to the south and would have light and air impacts. If you would, there's an attachment included within your staff report, Exhibit D, that displays the original elevations of that original proposal, so you can see the elevations there. Additionally, I would like to point your attention to a graphical image also included as Exhibit D, showing the original roof ridge in relation to the side property of 118 Acacia Avenue. So you can see that roof ridge was blocking 2 of the second-story windows at 118 Acacia Avenue. That's primarily what the property owner was concerned with. At the Architecture Review Committee meeting, the Architecture Review Committee discussed a number of different ideas to reduce the overall height of the roof ridge, but ultimately recommended that the applicant and the property owner work with one another to resolve this issue. Since the Architectural Review Committee meeting, the applicant and the concerned property owner have worked very closely with one another. They have redesigned, they've gone through a number of design revisions and finally agreed upon a cross-gable roof design. And this does one major thing: it limits the height of the overall home. So instead of being 19 feet 8 inches, the new cross-gable design maxes out at 17 feet 2.5 inches at the front gable. The rear gable would max out at 14 feet 3.5 inches. So this preserves more of the view that's currently enjoyed by 118 Acacia Avenue to the south, and also allows more light and air to be available to that property. The concerned property owner has since submitted a letter with a number of questions regarding how height is measured in the overall planning and building process. This was included was handed out to the planning commissioners prior to this meeting. Additionally, staff's comments and responses to those questions within the letter were also distributed to the Planning Commission. Staff did contact that concerned property owner today, and we did address some of the items mentioned within the letter. The concerned property owner was satisfied with staff's response and now has a greater understanding of how height is measured in general and has a greater understanding of the planning and building process. The property owner is no longer opposed to the proposed addition. In regards to the specific lot coverage entitlement, staff really looks at one thing, and that's if there's a good amount of open space on the lot. And in this particular case, we do find that there is a good amount of open space. They have a 15-foot front yard and a 23 to 25-foot rear yard. So we do find there is adequate space in the rear, overall on the site. Staff does find that the addition is consistent with the residential design guidelines. For the most part, they are incorporating horizontal hardy plank siding, which is a common feature in the neighborhood. Additionally, the home will also incorporate a shed dormer on the front elevation, which will provide additional architectural interest. Furthermore, the windows and window trims will be consistent on all elevations. With that, staff is supportive of the proposal and recommends that the Planning Commission approve the project subject to findings of fact 1 through 7 and conditions of approval 1 through 26 within the staff report. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any commission questions for the staff?
Through the chair.
Commissioner Marshall.
I'm confused, Matt.
Yes.
Are we looking at the front elevation with the one long dormer or the three smaller dormers?
So Exhibit D was the original design that the Architectural Review Committee
That's
reviewed.
with the three dormers.
That's with the 3 dormers. So the proposal before us tonight is 1 shed dormer and is included as Exhibit C within your staff report. So it includes a cross gable roof design with that front gable running in the north-south direction and the rear gable running in the east-west direction. And that's included as Exhibit C within the staff report, the proposal before us tonight.
I don't have Exhibit C, but I think it's this one here.
Exhibit C starts with a plan view of the lot, right? And
Correct. Exhibit C, the
and
first
it-
page of Exhibit C is the site plan, which shows the
Okay.
subject site and the properties to the north and south. And the elevations, the proposed elevations, are located on sheet A4, which is hard to see, but it's in the lower right-hand corner of the page.
So Exhibit C is more than one page.
Correct.
Yeah,
Exhibit C is
okay,
the entire
several
plan
pages.
set, site
Okay.
plan, floor plan, elevations, and
Okay, I
roof
got
plan.
you. So it's the one long dormer then, okay.
Right. Any other questions of commission for staff? Thank you very much, staff. I'd like to open a public hearing and ask if the applicant is here, please come to the podium and give your name and your street name for the record. And if you wish, make a presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Al Maher here, and my wife Jan, and our architect Jerry's here, as well as our neighbor Eileen is here that had the complaints on the original design. When we made the first presentation to the Architectural Review Committee, they reviewed it, approved it, and we were moving forward. At that time, Eileen, the neighbor to the north at 118, had some concerns about the view and light, that design was impacting her home. She hired an architect, and we had our architect, and we all met in her property and looked at the proposed design, how it would impact her home and her views. We came up with a few designs which we didn't like, and Matt mentioned several. There were 6 redesigns which our architect did, which we, over the course of about 30 to 45 days, decided that it was an okay design for us. Eileen and I met, went through it. We installed some storyboards up to show the dynamics of where the roof line, ridge lines would be. We looked at it with a cautious eye. The redesign removed some of the dormers, as you saw. We have a shed dormer still remaining to keep some of the look of the home. We also removed and lowered the major ridge, which was impacting her view the most, the roof line that was basically running from north to south. We lowered that when we reconfigured the dormer. Along with that, we changed the orientation of the ridge line to east and west, more or less. That, coupled with changing the pitch and the design of that roof, lowered the roof line, ridge line, down to approximately 1 foot higher than the existing home that's there now. Eileen and I looked at that. We erected storyboards to those heights, and Eileen had indicated to me at that time that it looked okay. She still had some concerns and questions, some of which are in the letter that you guys have tonight. I think Matt has given a good display of what we intend to do or hope to do. And I think that with the compromise that we've made with our neighbor, I hope to be a good neighbor, and hope you guys can see that I think we've done everything that we can to accommodate, you know, the neighborhood, the design, our wishes, and our neighbors. Our architect's here if you need any questions. Jan and I are here for any general questions. Thanks.
Very good. Wait one moment, see if there's a question. Any commission questions for the applicant? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peters.
Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public. Wait, is there one? Oh, okay. Please give your name and street name for the record.
Hello, I'm Eileen Aslan, and I'm the neighbor in question. I live at 118 Acacia. And before I start, I want to thank the Mahers, Janice and Al, for their cooperation and their flexibility. It was really a wonderful thing to work with people who are willing to compromise, and I believe we did. I have no objection. I'm the one who wrote the letter to Nat earlier. And in that, the first Exhibit A is the written one that Al showed me that he then visualized by putting up the storyboards, which is next. And this we agreed to. However, I found that in looking through the agenda, on the last page of the section C, there is a drawing which shows 15 feet instead of the 14.1 that was presented to me. And is that an error? Should that be there, or is it a collation error, or what?
Yeah, that was just an error in the report. It should be 14.1, and that's noted in the correction letter to the Planning Commission.
I didn't see the correction letter. Okay, fine. Well, then I have no objection at all. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who would like to comment on the application? All right. Without objection, I'll close the public hearing, bring the matter back to the commission for discussion or a motion.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Johnson.
I just really want to comment on, acknowledge the applicants and the neighbors that when you do come together and work through things, you will be neighbors for many, many, many years. And for the purpose of public to recognize and see that it really makes sense to meet and to have discussions. And sometimes you have to go through some peaks and valleys to get to that point. But in the big picture, it's a win-win. And this is a very, very good example of that win-win combination. And I really appreciate hearing both sides. It was a very thorough presentation. The storyboards make a huge difference in being able to see what the picture looks like. I appreciate as well having Eileen here to present her side and hear your points of views and clarifications, and you did an excellent job. And I'm very pleased. I want to acknowledge Matt for his presentation, the thoroughness of working on this project. I'm certain that it was a combination of staff doing this, and this is a really good example of making a planning commissioner's job just pleasurable to do this work. So thank you for that, and I want to acknowledge the team for all of this. So,
go ahead, please.
I don't know if there are any comments. I'm looking around to my left and right, and if there are no comments, I'm happy to make a motion that the Planning Commission approve use permit 11-004 based on findings of facts 1 through 7 and conditions of approval 1 through 26.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Chase. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and there's a 10-day appeal period. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.